And next one says, my client has 40 services. He is a plumber and business is multi-location. And he wants me to rank him for all 40 services in each location in 3 months of time. You mean you didn't have it done yesterday? That seems to be a bit unrealistic, but I guess it depends on what the current status of the project is and everything else. I have no idea that I can't provide a good answer with that without having a lot more detail on far as structure and everything else. First and foremost, I would optimize for topics and entities and not keywords so that you could rank one page for all of the freaking keywords associated with it. So there's a whole process for determining what are the top level topic terms. Also, if there's Google business profiles associated with it, then oftentimes I will optimize for the Google business category instead of the top level topic terms. Sometimes they're the same, but sometimes they're not. Oftentimes they're not the same. I'm not going to go into detail in Hump Day Hangouts, a public setting, about what I'm talking about. I can't do it, guys. I talk about this in our mastermind. But if you optimize for a topic, which is there's a bunch of keywords associated with a topic. So like plumbing, for example, or plumber, which would be I believe that's the primary Google business category is plumber, then that is a very broad topic term. You can optimize for that and you can rank that page or sub pages of that for all of the terms, right? So why I bring that up is because, in fact, let's just go take a look at this. Like if we just go click in here, yeah, plumber is the primary category, right? And by the way, that's local finder. That's not the same as maps, which is weird. If you click on the map 3-pack anymore or more businesses, it goes to local finder, but it's not the same as maps. It actually changes the data in some cases. Like it's weird, but the primary Google business categories, and I've seen it's some real kind of strange things. Like I'm still haven't figured out what local finder is doing just yet, but in local finder, it's interesting. If you open up Google Maps and local finder side by side, you'll see some nuanced differences in the data of each of these profiles. Like the categories structure is different. Like the primary Google business category will be all capitalized in local finder, whereas in maps, it's topic capitalization, which means the first letter of the first word is capitalized and all the rest of the words in that category name are lowercase. That's topic capitalization is the way that I like to refer to it. So it's really interesting to see that kind of differences. But so yeah, plumber is the primary Google business category. So that is likely the top level term. So that's something that I would, but you'd have to look in Wikipedia and start trying to determine what are the top level terms. Like plumbing is probably a higher level term than plumber, because a plumber is somebody that provides plumbing services. So plumbing is a broader term than plumber. Do you understand? But it depends on how you optimize, depends on, do you optimize for the topic or the Google business category? It depends. Is it a local project with the Google business profile? If so, optimize for the category, the Google business category. If it is a organic only asset that you're ranking in organic search without a maps component, then you want to optimize for the top level topic term, which would be plumbing over plumber. So again, there's nuanced differences, guys. And I spent months and months and months testing this. No shit. I've done a lot of training on this in our mastermind. So that was another good question though. But I can't answer the question without having more details. And I haven't done a plumbing site since 2014. No kidding on that too. So I don't know what the appropriate silo structure is for that. There used to be a really good site in Culpeper called Culpeper Home Services that was, I mean, it was, God, they did an outstanding job in silo structure on that site. In fact, I modeled that site for when I started redesigning my own site structure to go from, and I don't have time to cover all this, but I used to always do what's called a bottom-up approach. And for every site that I built for many years, I always did a bottom-up internal linking approach. But then I saw Culpeper Home Services, which has now been bought out by apparently FH Fur Plumbing. And so their website is no longer live, but they had a fantastic website, Culpeper Home Services. And they did what I call a top-down approach for their silo structure or internal linking structure. And they just crushed it. For every freaking turn, they were number one. And so that's when I started, like, I actually kind of analyzed their site for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I started to test with that in tree services. And sure enough, the top-down approach is much better. It ranks much better. It performs much better than a bottom-up approach. So I started, like, all my recent SEO, or excuse me, tree service sites have been built with that kind of a structure, like the top-down approach. So I'm just saying that because, again, like sometimes you can find a product. Let's see, this is FH First, probably not them. But every now and then you can find a site that is just done so well that you can model their own. Let's take a look at this. This might actually be it. Let's see, do they have locations in here? It's hard to tell. This, I'd have to go through and look at this site a little bit closer to see if they kept the structure and just rebranded it. But yeah, here's an example. So you can see, yeah, okay, take a look at this. This is kind of, it looks like they kept the same structure. They might have just rebranded. Let me pull this open. Take a look at this, guys. What did I just talk about? What is the primary term? Not plumber. Plumber is a professional that provides plumbing services. So plumbing is a broader term. That is a top-level topic term. So that's what they have in the silo. Drain cleaning is a function of plumbing, right? So you can see the silo structure here is done really well. Again, I think they just rebranded that site instead of changing the site altogether. Now look at this. If we copy this URL for clogged drains, boom, look at that. Drain cleaning, clog removal is a function of drain cleaning. So that's not a separate page, because that is, I mean, it is a separate page, but it's not a separate page at this level. You understand? It's a sub page. So it's a supporting page of this service, which that's good hierarchy. That's good structure. Because if it was a flat site, or in other words, if those two services were on the same level, they could potentially compete for each other. But because of the way that they've got this site structured, it's not, because this is a supporting content for this service. Again, you can tell from the hierarchy of the URL, right? Or the structure of the URL. So this site was done really well. I still think this is a bit overcomplicated, but it ranked really well, and it probably still does. I haven't looked at FH Fur, but I'm just saying, again, sometimes if you're in the plumbing industry, I would probably spend some time kind of analyzing this, using something like a page crawler, website auditor, or I don't know, does Screaming Frog do visual maps, site maps, visual site maps? I don't know if they do or not. I don't use Screaming Frog that much, but Website Auditor does. And you can go in and like see the structure of the site in a visual format, and it might help you to determine how to structure yours. Why do I like these kinds, guys? Is because this is, again, the top-down approach is we can hit top-level directories with links, and it will power everything up that is a child category or nested underneath of it. Does that make sense? So in other words, you can hit this page here with links, and anything that is a sub page of plumbing is going to be powered up, right? Essentially, you're pushing link equity and relevance throughout the structure, but through the top-down approach, you can accomplish more with less links than doing the bottom-up approach, which is what I had done for many, many years, if that makes sense. So that's why I said, this kind of a structure is really good, because you can hit key strategic pages on the site that will power up a whole bunch of sub pages all at once. And it's a much more efficient way to build links. And also it's more efficient, or more cost effective, I should say. So anyway, another good question, but without more context, I probably couldn't tell you exactly how to structure it.